Brethren, today, what I'm about to share with you will strengthen your faith like never before. It's a story of fire, fear, and a miracle that still leaves the entire village speechless. Before I begin, I want you to pause for a moment and subscribe to this channel if you believe that God still performs miracles today. Don't forget to share this testimony with your friends so they too can see that God never abandons His children, and type in the comments, "God is the greatest and will forever be." Because after you hear what happened in that little church in Pakistan, you'll know beyond a shadow of a doubt that our God reigns even in the fire. It was a Sunday morning, brethren. The kind of morning that begins with hope, hymns, and the sound of children laughing in the churchyard. Our small church stood at the edge of the village, humble, built with wooden beams and a tin roof, but filled with faith that could move mountains. We had just begun our morning service. The pastor was reading from Psalm 91, "He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." Those words, little did we know, were about to become our reality. Suddenly, there was noise outside, shouting, footsteps, and angry voices drawing closer. We turned toward the door, and before anyone could react, a group of men stormed in. Their faces were covered, their eyes filled with hate. They carried guns and cans of gasoline. "Stop praying," one of them yelled. "Today, you'll see whose God is greater." Fear swept through the room like cold wind. Mothers clutched their children, and the pastor tried to calm everyone down. But brethren, it was too late. They blocked the doors, poured gasoline on the wooden floor, and before we could say a word, they struck a match. In an instant, fire burst out. The flames spread so fast that smoke filled our lungs. People started coughing, crying, calling out to Jesus. And I remember shouting, "Lord, have mercy." The attackers laughed as they walked away, locking the door from outside. We were trapped, surrounded by fire, by smoke, by death itself. But deep inside my spirit, something whispered, "Be still, for I am with you in this fire." Brethren, let me tell you something. When you've reached the end of your strength, that's where God begins His work. The fire was everywhere, the walls were cracking, the ceiling turning black. I saw the pastor fall to his knees and begin to pray aloud. "Father, this church belongs to you. These are your children. Walk with us through this fire." And something changed. Something unexplainable. The flames that were roaring suddenly slowed. The heat that was burning our skin began to soften. I could feel a cool breeze, in the middle of the burning church. It didn't make sense. We opened our eyes and saw that the fire was not touching us. Our clothes were not burning, our hair untouched. The children stopped crying. The mothers began to sing, trembling but full of faith. One of them shouted, "Jesus is here." And brethren, I felt it too. It was like a presence, calm, powerful, unseen yet undeniable. The smoke cleared just enough for us to see light coming from the altar. And it felt like the very hands of God were shielding us from the flames. The pastor lifted his Bible, untouched by fire, and declared, "No weapon formed against us shall prosper." We began to sing, yes, right there in the fire. We sang, "How great thou art." The flames raged around us. But they couldn't come near us. The more we worshipped, the smaller the fire seemed. Brethren, God was not watching from heaven that day. He was walking with us right there in the fire. Just like He did with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. After what felt like hours, the sound of the fire began to fade. The attackers had already fled, thinking we were gone. But what they didn't know was that the Lord had fought for us. When we finally pushed open the doors, the outside walls were scorched, the roof had collapsed. But every single person, from the youngest child to the oldest grandmother, walked out without a single burn. Not one scratch. Not one blister. Just the smell of smoke on our clothes, as proof that we had truly been through the fire. Brethren, when the villagers saw us, they fell to their knees. Even the ones who doubted our faith whispered, "Surely, their God is real." That day, the police came, the news spread, and people from nearby towns came just to see the miracle. But I tell you this, it wasn't just a miracle of protection. It was a revival of faith. Many who had turned away from God came back. And even some of those who attacked us later confessed that they saw men in white walking inside the fire. I know what I saw, brethren. I know what I felt. And I'll never forget that day, when God turned flames into proof of His power. So if you're watching this right now, and you're in a season that feels like fire, maybe it's sickness, maybe it's betrayal, maybe it's poverty, remember this. The same God who stood with us in that burning church will stand with you in your trials too. He never fails. He never sleeps. And when the enemy thinks it's over, that's when God steps in. So brethren, don't give up. Don't lose faith. Because when the fire comes, God will make it your testimony. And if you believe this with all your heart, type it right now in the comments. God is the greatest and will forever be. Then share this testimony with someone who needs to know that even in the fire, our God still saves.